Hello, I hope you're having a lovely day today. Today's video is going to be on home products that I no longer buy anymore. So this is not going to be any food products, but items around the house that I don't have to continually buy anymore because I either make them myself or I've bought a version of it that I don't have to keep rebuying it again because I invested in something that will last for the long haul. I just walked around our house and just looked around for things that I no longer need to buy anymore. So these are the items that I came across. I am definitely not a minimalist. I like having things that are functional and purposeful and meaningful. So everything that I have is either beautiful or functional, and even the stuff that I buy that's functional, I try to get things that are more pretty so that way they can be left setting out. If you watched my grain mill video, that was the main reason why I bought my grain mill, was because it's something I could leave on the counter. So starting with the bathroom, several years ago my sister told me about a recipe that she saw where you can use Castile soap and mix it with water and vitamin E oil if you want and make your own foaming soap. So this was the exact soap bottle that she gave me, and she gave me a bottle of Castile soap so I could start making it myself. And so if you already have one of these foaming bottles, you can just keep on reusing it. iHerb actually does sell a very good Castile soap. I personally do not buy Dr. Bronner's anymore because they stand for everything that is completely against my values, and I want to give my money towards people that share my values. There's many brands out there that you can use instead, and all you need is to put one, depending on the size of your bottle, 1 to 3 tablespoons. I kind of just guess at this point. I leave my bottle under each of our sinks, and that way when it starts to run low, I just squeeze some of the soap into the bottom of it and then fill the rest up with water, and it's done. Super easy, good, clean, no toxins, and you could even buy fancy glass foam bottles if you want, but I just have these little plastic ones and they work perfect. So I no longer have to buy hand soap for our house. I also no longer have to buy mouthwash, so I make the mouthwash myself. I kept these kombucha bottles a few years ago and put my little label on them. So this one is a peroxide rinse, so we just use our brown bottle hydrogen peroxide, fill it up about 1/3 to almost 1/2, and then I dilute the rest with our filtered Berkey water. And we had watched a testimony of this old man many years ago. Scott found it and it helped his teeth by just using the brown bottle hydrogen peroxide. And there are hydrogen peroxides that are specific to mouthwashing, so if you don't feel comfortable with the brown bottle, you can always get those. But for us, we've done our research and we feel comfortable with using the brown bottle because we're not swallowing it. But to each their own. The brown bottle's like a little over $1, and the other kinds I think are close to $10, so that's up to you. But we've done this every single day for 4 years and we have not had any problems with it. We love it. It definitely feels like it's cleaning the mouth. And then after we swish with the hydrogen peroxide, I swish with mouthwash, and this is just salt, peppermint oil, and water. That's it. And this is also to cleanse the mouth of any germs. Salt's really good for stopping any bacteria. So those are my 2 mouthwashes that we always use, and I don't have to buy mouthwash anymore. On the lines of dental care, we don't buy dental floss anymore unless we're traveling, then I'll have dental floss. But as far as a household item that I would buy all the time, I don't buy dental floss anymore. One, if you start doing research on dental floss, the normal brands aren't that good for you, and the wax coating, yeah, I don't know all the details about it to tell you about it, but they're not great. And then if you try the more holistic dental flosses, for us, I feel like they always end up like breaking in our mouth. They're not as great either. So we went to a holistic dentist and she recommended that we get the water pick. And so we bought it. I think it was about $60 for this. She said, make sure you don't get the travel size one because you'll end up having to refill it with water in the middle of using it. Whereas you buy this size one, the amount of water is enough for one round through. So there are YouTube videos on how to use it if you are curious about that. We love this. We like it so much that we usually take it with us when we're traveling because it really feels like it cleans our teeth and we no longer have to buy dental floss. And it actually comes with two little heads, so we switch back and forth because Scott's is the gray one, mine's the white one, and so we don't have to use the same ones. So this has been a huge blessing. And then since I'm talking about mouth care, I figure I might as well share with you that every morning we coconut oil pull. It is so good for your teeth and your gums and your mouth. And we switch the coconut oil in our mouth anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on what's happening in the morning. And we have noticed a huge difference with this. So we have been consistent with doing that every day for the entire year that we've lived here, and I have noticed my teeth are whiter than ever, and I really think it's because of the coconut oil pulling. So that's something else you can just add in to your teeth routine every morning. It's a great way to take care of your gums and not need all of the very expensive dental stuff that happens when stuff goes wrong with your teeth, which is just a terrible thing and very stressful in my opinion. So anything we can do to prevent extra trips to the dentist office, we try to do. Now on to facial care. If you watched my last video, you saw me making calendula jojoba oil, and this is what I use on my face every morning and every evening. So I use this on my face in the mornings for when I wash my face first thing in the morning, and then also when I'm doing my gua sha and jade rolling, I will use the calendula jojoba as the oil for my face. Jojoba oil is very similar to our skin's natural oil, which is why it's so good for our skin. And then in the evenings, this is what I use to take off my makeup, and then I will put this on again after I take my makeup off to cleanse my face, and then I'll just splash water on my face to kind of rinse it off. And then another facial product that I no longer buy, which I used to buy all the time, and it actually adds up because it's quite expensive, and if you look at the bottle with the ingredients, they're not always that good, is witch hazel. So I would buy I always forget the name of the brand, but it's a clear bottle with the red cap of witch hazel. I saw a recipe from Dawn Combs on how to make it yourself. I actually have a video on Scott and I's channel of me making it, and from that video I still have this bottle and then half of this bottle left, and I made that over a year ago. It makes so much, and I've given a lot of it away as gifts, so it makes a ton. So you're basically taking the witch hazel bark, which is kind of expensive, but when you see how much that bark makes of your witch hazel, it well pays for itself if you were to just buy the witch hazel in bottles. So every morning and night I will put this on my face after I cleanse it, and I did put a little bit of vodka in here, that way it is shelf stable. If you have extremely dry skin and you cannot handle alcohol in your skincare products, then you could make small batches of it and just keep it in your refrigerator and not put any vodka or alcohol in it, and it should do just fine. So I'll make sure I link that video below on how to make the witch hazel if you are interested in doing that. And when it comes to applying the witch hazel oil, normally you would use those cotton balls or cotton pads, and I no longer buy those anymore either because at one point I bought these bamboo pads and you can see they have been well used. I've had these for many years at this point, but you just keep washing them and they last a very long time. You know, I should probably do laundry stripping with these and see if they turn white. I think I'll do that. I did a video on laundry stripping if you've not watched that. My mom also crocheted me these cotton pads, so I use both of them. They're wonderful. I never need to buy the throwaway cotton pads ever again. When I bought these bamboo ones, it came with this little bag, and so when I go to wash them, I just put them in the drawstring bag so they don't fall out in the washing machine, and then I'll just air dry them, and it's easy as can be. I never have to buy cotton pads again for my facial products. I don't use dry shampoo as much anymore. I probably used it once in the last year, but I thought I would share this with you because using this dry shampoo is what got me off of the dry shampoos that have more not good chemicals in them. And this I learned from the Whole Food Diary. She shared this recipe on her Instagram many years ago, and it's just arrowroot powder. And if you have very blonde hair, you could just use arrowroot powder. But if you have any range of darkness, then you can add cocoa powder to it, to whatever darkness you would need. And then I just put it in this jar, and I bought one of these little makeup brushes that are huge, and that's what I would use. Is I would dump a little bit in the cap, swirl my brush in it, lift my hair up, and brush this in the roots. That's what got me out of buying dry shampoo. And I think now my hair's just gotten used to, I wash my hair every 3 to 4 days, and I think my hair oil has gotten used to that. So I don't need this as much anymore, which is really nice. But I do think this helped me along the journey of getting out of the dry shampoo, because I would need to wear it, the spray, like Not Your Mother's brand, every day. I would put it in my hair. This is something that really helped with not needing to buy the toxic dry shampoo anymore. And then also on the lines of hair, I'm gonna do a full video of what I do with my hair, because several of you have asked me to do a video on it. But for the last 2 years, I used apple cider vinegar as my conditioner for my hair. Where we lived before here had very hard water. The water was so hard that everything in the shower would calcify, the hardware and everything would just have the white calcium all over it. And so the only conditioner I could use on my hair, I could not use any other type of conditioner but apple cider vinegar. I would just leave this bottle in the shower. This is the Azure one, and the best price for it. And then I would put a tiny little bit in the bottom of a mason jar, fill the rest up with water, and use it like a rinse. I also have made apple cider vinegar or apple scrap vinegar, and I've used that before as well. So we're coming up on apple season. You can save your apple scraps and make that for your hair rinse. Because we don't have that heart of water anymore, I have switched over back to using conditioner again because I enjoy the way it makes my hair feel. But for that season of having hard water, this was wonderful, and it is so cheap. It ends up being so inexpensive to use apple cider vinegar as your conditioner. So if you've never tried it, it's worth trying and seeing how it works on your hair and if your hair likes it. I think everyone's hair is different, so it kind of just depends on the person if it works, but this did really work well for me for that season, and it enabled me to not need to buy conditioner anymore. And now for razors. So I would go through those throwaway razors all the time, and then I was like, you know what? I want to find a razor that I can reuse over and over and just buy those blades. And over 2 years ago, I was doing my month of only shopping local, and I came across this. It was a locally owned toy store, but it had a section of home apothecary type of products. And so in it was this razor with the wood handle, and I think it was $20, and the box of blades was 50 cents. So I went ahead and bought the razor, bought the box, and it's been over 2 years. I haven't had to buy a box of the blades since then, but still it's only like 50 cents to $1, so it costs nothing. So I have saved so much money in not having to buy razors anymore. And the reason it took me so long to buy this was because I was very scared that I would cut myself, and so I watched so many tutorials on YouTube to learn how to use it. I think the big thing is when you first use it for the first time, obviously the blade is the sharpest, so some of the tips that helped me was you don't press down. This is kind of heavy. There is definitely a weight to it. So you just use the weight of the razor when you're shaving. Just go in slow swipes like this. You don't want to drag all the way up. You can when the blade's more dull, but when the blade is super sharp, when you first start using it, you can just go in little motions. And again, do not use force on it. Use just the weight of you can see it just wants to hang down on its own, so use that weight to pull on it. And you may cut yourself a few times at the beginning. It's good to have some powdered yarrow on hand for when you do. You can make a little paste, put the yarrow on, and yarrow stops bleeding. So you could have that on hand for when you first start, because it's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it, this pays for itself. It is so worth having. I cannot say enough about, there's a name for these, I can't think of the name of it, but it's wonderful. I highly recommend buying these type of razors. And this was $20, and those throwaway razors, I feel like they're like $15 for a pack of 2. So yeah, save money, buy one of these. Something else that I no longer buy anymore is shower gel or the plastic loofah sponges. I got actually 2 of these, I guess they're cotton bags, at a local soap shop about 4 years ago. So this is now 4 years old, and it's perfect. You just put your soap bar in it, lather it up, and then I usually end up taking the soap bar out soon after, because once you have the soap bar in, you don't need to keep on using it because all of the soap is lathered into it. And then I just throw it in with the wash with my towels, and it's really wonderful. Another facial product that I no longer buy is tallow. So I can only use a little tiny bit of tallow on my face, otherwise it clogs my pores. This, I think, depends on the person, because Scott also uses this on his skin, and he takes a huge scoop of it out to use on his face. Before putting it on either of our faces, I have this rose hydrosol that I will spray on both of our faces, because tallow is not moisturizing. Tallow will trap moisture in, so you want to make sure your face is moisturized first. So you could do it as soon as you get out of the shower at night while your face is nice and steamy. You could put tallow on your face then, and it will trap in that moisture. Tallow is very expensive, and if you can get a half of a cow or a full cow and ask for the tallow, you can then render that yourself, or iHerb does sell tubs of tallow that you could also render down to. So I followed the Bumblebee Apothecary recipe on how to render the tallow so it doesn't smell as strong anymore. Then you can use it to either make a tallow balm or make your own whipped tallow. I like the whipped tallow, and then you can also then add in your jojoba oil or vitamin E oil, or I like to add methylene blue to ours, because methylene blue, a really good quality company called Lifeblood sells it, and I just added 1 or 2 drops to mine, and it is supposed to be really good for anti-aging for your skin, and it actually turns it this beautiful blue color. It doesn't affect the color of your skin at all. It blends right in, and this also has vanilla infused jojoba oil in it, so it has a faint scent of vanilla. I did not put any essential oils in this. If you can make tallow yourself, it will save you a lot of money, and a little does go a long way. Like I said, I cannot use too much of it or I notice my pores get clogged, but I use just a tiny bit. I also use this on my hands at night because it makes my hands feel very soft. So that is it with the bathroom products. Now on to the kitchen, starting off with plastic wrap or press and seal. I don't buy that anymore because I have these beeswax wraps, and they are wonderful. If there's a kitchen item that I use every single day, it's these. I have them in my little basket, and there are many sizes of them. And even better, you can make them yourself. There are many recipes out there of melting down the beeswax. You take a natural fiber cloth, so cotton, and then you pour the melted beeswax over top of it. You are making your own beeswax wraps, and then you can make it any size that you want. Press it over your bowls, or for our big chunks of 5-pound iHerb cheeses, I will open them up and then just wrap the end of it, and I've never had a cheese go off on that way, so I no longer have to freeze those big 5-pound blocks of cheese because I just cut away as I need it, and then I wrap the end piece that is open with this, and it works perfectly. And then when you go to clean it, you just want to make sure that you use cold water when you rinse it off. When you use hot water, you end up washing off the wax, which this poor one here you can see is evidence of, because it is very loose, whereas this one is still very tacky and nice because I've always cleaned it the proper way. So if you make them, or even if you buy them, they do pay for themselves as long as you clean them the right way without the hot water, they will last you a very long time. Another thing I no longer buy anymore is kitchen sponges. So my mom makes these crocheted kitchen sponges. Well, my mom made this one. This one looks really good. This is my version of it, which you can see is very crooked because I'm still growing in my ways of crocheting, and yeah. It's not perfect, but it's functional. So I now no longer have to buy kitchen sponges, because once you learn, or you have an amazing mother who makes them, you don't have to buy kitchen sponges anymore. And these last forever. You just throw them in the washing machine with your towels, wash them. It's like they're brand new. And obviously they do get worn out eventually, but they last a very long time, and they're abrasive, so they clean very, very well. I also no longer buy plastic straws because I have these metal straws and I have the little straw cleaners, and these, I think if you have children, Scott and I don't really like these very much, but I'm saving them for kids because we were gifted these from his work several years ago, and I think they would just be the perfect straws for kids, and they should last forever. Another one of my favorite kitchen reusable items are stasher bags. So I love stasher bags. I have had to buy way less baggies because of stasher bags. So the only time now that I use the Ziploc bags is the freezer bags for freezing our bananas for smoothies or other fruits that I save. I'll use those because I just don't have enough of the stasher bags for that. But a few years ago, one of you guys actually gifted a whole set of these to us, which was so nice. So I have many that are in the freezer and the fridge right now, but I just took these out because I have cheeses stored in them. And then these two big ones are my favorite because they are massive. So I have cheese in there. This is sourdough crackers that I need to make. And these huge ones are so nice for pizza dough. I will always put my pizza dough that's left over in here. It stores it really well. The beef liver, the raw beef liver chunks that I cut into pieces and freeze, I store those in the stasher bags. And again, it feels like they're a little bit expensive when you look at the prices of them, but they totally pay for themselves. They're very easy to clean, and I use them all the time. Lastly, for the kitchen stuff, and this is a more broader topic, but it is home apothecary stuff. So things that you can make yourself instead of buying, and one of those things is fire cider. There are fire ciders that you can buy, but it is so easy and simple to make it yourself. Rosemary Gladstar is usually her style recipe that I follow, and I don't even follow it to a T. I just base the ingredients on what I have, which is usually onions, garlic, ginger, chili peppers. I think I put some pepper in it, and whatever other herbs that I have. I put it in the jar, and then I top it with the Azure apple cider vinegar because it's the best price, and it's also way more potent than most apple cider vinegars that are out there. And then you just let it sit in front of a sunny window for 30 days, and then you filter it and you add honey to it, and then you have your apple cider vinegar, which is so good, especially coming up on winter where there's sickness going around, to just start drinking a shot glass of this a day. And Scott will usually dilute it because he hates the taste of it by itself. So he dilutes it with water and drinks like this much of it, but it's really easy to make and very inexpensive, really. And then making tinctures yourself at home is another great way to save money instead of buying already made tinctures. So I have a video where I show you how to make propolis tincture. Propolis is so good for healing your throat. It basically puts a coat on your throat. Bees use propolis as a glue around their hive. It's the super, super sticky stuff that they use to seal the lid to the box. It's amazing. So I made this with the propolis from our old beehives, but if you don't have propolis, you could always buy it from someone like Dr. Leo, who is a good source for that type of thing because he doesn't use any chemicals or antibiotics on his bees. Can you believe that it is a common thing for people to give bees antibiotics? That is a whole different rabbit trail, but it's shocking to me. So even if you think you're buying raw honey, you don't know if the beekeeper gave their bees antibiotics. So yeah, that's a different subject. But if you can get a good source for your propolis, then you can make this yourself. And same with any other tincture. You could put echinacea root at the bottom of a jar, top it off with about an inch of vodka, let it sit for 30 days, and you have echinacea tincture that you can add it to hot tea, and that is very good for you. I've made licorice tincture before, which is really good for helping with coughing, loosening up mucus, and you do the same thing. You just put the licorice root at the bottom of a jar, top it up with your vodka, let it sit for a month, strain it, and there is your tincture. So instead of buying tinctures that other people make, you can make it yourself. And you can also make salves, balms. I've made a burn salve. It's from Rosemary Gladstar. I actually did a video on that a few years ago, and you could make that and give that as gifts for people for Christmas, but I use it all the time. Anytime I burn my hand or my arm on cast iron, put it on my arm after I've run it under some cold water, and it really helps heal that area very quickly. And so there's an abundance of recipes of salves out there. You can make plantain salve and then put that on a sting, because plantain is supposed to draw out venom from stings. And then another thing that you can do to where if you want to take herbs in powder form, you can make your own capsules with these capsule machines. I actually bought this from Mountain Rose Herbs many years ago, and they're another company I no longer buy from because they are totally against my values, so I don't buy from them anymore, but I'm pretty sure that Azure sells these now. So I have the Zero capsule. You can buy different size machines for different size capsules, but you could make your own capsules with these little machines. It's very easy. Take your capsules, which I found the best price you can get for them is from Azure. Sometimes iHerb will have them extremely discounted, but most of the time Azure is the best price for them. So you basically take your capsules, open them up, put the one side down on this side, the other side fits on here. You then pour your, this is what I use, is milk thistle powder. So you can use ashwagandha powder, whatever powder, herbal powders you're trying to take, desiccated beef liver powder. You then pour it onto here. Use a little scraper that comes with it to even it all out. And then you can then dump the excess back into the jar. And then you put this on, and when you press it down on a flat surface, it will make the capsule come together. This to me is dependent upon the weather. If your house is very humid, you might have some problems with this. It's best to do it when it's not humid out, because I noticed that the days that I tried doing this when it's humid, for some reason the capsules don't come together well and it's a huge mess. But if they do come together well, you should be able to then just push this and it pops them out. I forgot to say there's this little tamper thing as well that you use to press the powder into the capsules to make sure you get them fully in. And it's very easy. Very simple way of making your own capsules at home with powdered herbs. And even things that you grow in your garden, in the garden yourself, you could then blend them up in the Vitamix to a super fine powder and then make it yourself. Okay, this item I left last for the kitchen items on purpose because I still buy paper towels. So when we lived at our old house, I actually was really good at never buying paper towels. I think the 2 years that we lived there, I bought 2 rolls of paper towels the entire time because my friend Margot made these for me, these handmade paper towels, these reusable ones, and you just wash them, and they actually clean the counters and everything way better than paper towels do. And I had a really bad habit of overusing paper towels before this, so during that season I was trying to be really intentional with not using paper towels. Since we've moved here, I don't know what shift has happened, but I've gone back into liking having paper towels on hand. So I do still buy paper towels. I don't use them all the time, but I do use them. I don't have an issue with using them, but I definitely still use my reusable ones daily. I love them, but this isn't something I can fully say I no longer buy anymore. And obviously, again, this is lifestyle wise, this is stuff I no longer buy anymore, but should a need come up, like when we went to South Africa, I had to buy razors then because I didn't know if they would allow me to travel on the plane with that metal one, and I didn't want it to get thrown away. But all of this stuff is lifestyle stuff, so I no longer have to buy that. But paper towels are the exception. I still will make sure I get the paper towels on sale for a good price, and I will use these, but It's a balance of using both. And now for the laundry room. I did a full video on making your own homemade laundry detergent. I will link that video below, but that is definitely something I no longer need to buy anymore because I think this stuff is the best of the best. And it ends up being cents per load, so it saves you a lot of money. You no longer have to buy those big plastic jugs anymore. I love my homemade laundry soap. And the very last thing in this whole video is dryer balls. So dryer balls has enabled me to no longer need dryer sheets anymore. These are wool dryer balls, and I try to hang stuff on the clothesline as much as possible. There are times when I use the dryer, need the dryer, and I love the wool dryer balls. There is a company called Sonoma Wool Company, and it's an American company. They are wonderful. They sell dryer balls, and I highly trust their products, so I'll link their store below as well. They sell other wool stuff too that you might be interested in, but this has saved me from not needing to use dryer sheets anymore. So that is everything from today's video. I hope it's been fun for you to watch and has encouraged you in different ways that you can be building your home economy and saving money, because what an honor it is that we get to be the keepers of our home. It's a blessing, and it's actually fun to come up with these things of different ways that you can save money and buy things that maybe up front seem like a bit of an investment, but they do end up paying for themselves. So I bless you, I bless the work of your hands and the rest of your day.